Bloggeteers, Will here, and today we have a special preview of a new set that's about to come out. It's set 43179, Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse buildable characters. Now, one of the interesting things is the instructions are split into two books, so that if you want two building experiences, you can build Mickey one day, Minnie the other day, or if you're having other builders with you, each person can take their own model, set number of bags, and build on their own and still have the same type of building experience. Now, this particular set also has some stickers, which I know is not a big thing that people like when they're looking for the big adult sets. It has only 4 stickers, and they're all on this little photo album accessory that comes with. So you have 2 pictures that are inside of it, and then 2 stickers on the outside to make the cover. And then when it's all built, it has that nice gilded look with the hearts on the corners, little ingots in brown on the side to make the little closure or clasp. So there's that. The set itself has some really great pieces. One such can actually be found on the cameras. These rounded curves here are actually made with new pieces that are the 1x1 plate that has a rounded brick section off to the side, so it's a modified piece. It now actually comes in corners so that it can build out this corner and then continue the rounded edge, giving us this kind of bubbled look of the camera. But those are just accessories. The real stars of the show are the sculptures. So you can actually get a good sense of how big it is compared to using me as a size. So they are a bit big. Of course, it is going to be about $180, so it's not a cheap set. The set has a ton of interesting pieces. Of course, everything else, aside from the photo album, are printed. So their eyes are printed, Minnie's skirt is printed, you have printing on the tiles at their base so you can actually read their scripted names. All that is right onto the pieces. Now, is this set for everybody? Absolutely not. I know a lot of adult fans were looking at this and immediately thought, well, it's supposed to be for me because the set says 18 plus, but it's nothing I want. And that is actually a bit on purpose. Lego found that there are a lot of adults out there that aren't being served by the existing catalog of sets that are out there. When it gets to this point, they like it looking really nice, but it's too complicated for them, and so they just rather pass. So this is one example of a decorative element. Let's also see the backs, where it looks pretty good from most angles. The only part I don't really care for is the back of the ears, because you have the raw exposed plates. But for the most part, you have a good looking sculpture all the way around. And complexity wise, these weren't really hard to put together. And one of the reasons for that is because when Lego is after adults that aren't necessarily adult fans right now, they know that there is a benefit to putting sets together, and that is a therapeutic one in that it can be stress relieving. I found these very stress relieving because even though I was building something interesting, I was never feeling like I had to be always attent and make sure the tolerances were just perfect. I didn't have extremely challenging tiny little micro builds that needed to be perfectly correct. This was a relaxing build, and therefore I got very relaxed while building them. In fact, they flew together really quickly. Also, another important thing to point out is they are very limited when it comes to posability. The hands themselves can rotate at the wrist. Mickey's foot, his bottom left one, can be repositioned how you like. The mouths can be closed, but you wouldn't want to because that starts exposing the inner structure of the head, which doesn't look great. The ears can actually be moved around because they're on ball joints. Otherwise, if you want to move the arms, you'll actually have to take them apart because they're actually connected in with axle connectors. All of these are axle connectors, so they don't have any sort of twisting capability to them. And they're a fairly new piece. It's a very rounded, kind of like a rounded 2x2 round brick and plate in thickness, except they're very slick and then have that kind of macaroni twist to them. Same with Minnie. Her arms also can... Oh, the tails. They actually can be repositioned. Each of them is on a finger hinge, back and forth, and then of course they have points at which you can rotate. So if you don't like a position of a tail, you can actually switch those around. But that's about it. Primarily, these are built to be decorative elements, and they found through their various surveys that one thing that adults responded very well to, not necessarily they wanted as a set, but what they responded well to was having pieces that were decorative. They're not necessarily buying Lego for a toy. They like it as something to put on display, because we've had really great looking like pirate ships and Ghostbusters HQ and Voltron and the Fairground sets, and they look beautiful out on the shelf. This is that type of thing. If you're an adult fan and you don't find this to your taste, that's perfectly okay. There still is a lot for you. The parts in general, like one of the things I like is at the base, all these windows are opaque, and they range, depending on how you look at it, between a purple, blue, and green, all of them with a glitter pattern to give that kind of dreamy silver screen type effect on the film strip, or the film cell, which is what the base is designed to be like. So very artsy, very nice, very collectible, good size. It's still not perfect to a hardcore fan, but in general, this is a great starter set for an adult fan who may not be up for the challenge of a really, really tough build. For those, I would suggest pointing to some of the Ultimate Collector Series Star Wars, the 1989 Batmobile, the new Fairground set, the Barracuda Bay. There's plenty of options out there. So this is a limited market. One, it helps to be a Disney classic fan, which I know I am, and you might want something that you want to display. This would be great for it. So $180, set 43179, Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse buildable characters.